Hey folks, welcome back. Well, we got the Lincoln is back in here again for uh it's been a while. It's been at least last year or especially mostly all of this summer that I've been driving this thing. It's had kind of a, vibration. I've always kind of suspected that it had a bent rim. Um and this time I decided to rotate the tires, and it made it a lot worse. So I took it into the tire shop to have them basically just check the tires a lot better than what I know how to do, and get them balanced and all that stuff. And basically they said that these tires are pretty much there's a certain percentage of them just not being round or whatnot. You can see it's very hard to keep these white walls clean when I daily drive this thing. But so anyways, I got some new tires that are a little bit different. These tires that were on here are they're Coker Classics. The bummer thing of it is I think they were fairly new when I got this car, which will be 3 years ago this September. They were fairly new. They've got about 15,000 miles on it in that 3 years since and I've rotated them a couple of times. But I mean, there's pretty decent tread on them. But I'm gonna go with what they were talking about with, it's probably just, I don't know if it's, these cars are just extremely heavy. And so I just wanted to go with something different. I'll show you what I got in just a second. But you can see what I've been trying to do, is here's the wheel that I've got for my spare. It's the exact same size. It's a brand new wheel and stuff. And I've been trying different, pulling off one tire, putting this tire on, trying them all in different areas. Because right now, I can get it. This is about the best configuration that it's got as far as, been driving it around for the last week or so. You don't really feel it much up to 55. It's just you feel it right around 65 quite a bit. Once you get about 70 and 75, it kind of calms down a little bit. But anyways, we've got us some new tires here. And obviously, if you're going to find a tire that's going to have that big of a wide white, which isn't, period correct for this car, I always liked them. I said that these tires were on it when I bought it, and I always liked, when they're clean, they're a lot better looking. Right now the hubcaps are off because I'd been moving these tires all around. But anyways, these are very expensive tires. I want to say that this would be like a $260, $70 ish tire, depending on if it's even from them or somewhere else. Whereas, I couldn't really spend a whole lot of money on tires. So I went to the PriorityTire.com. I use them a lot. They're not sponsoring this video or nothing like that. That's just where I've gotten them. They've been really good. As far as getting them shipped here and everything like that, I really absolutely love the fact that, you go on there and you look for the tires and you see the price. Well, that shows and reflects the shipping, at least in my experience. It had, that's what you see there is what you pay. These particular tires, are these Vercelli brand. I want to say they were probably right around $98 a piece or something like that, because I know I only spent like about $400. 401 I think it was for all four of these. You can see that it has, the little strip. This is getting closer to a period correct type of tire. I don't remember exactly if it would have been like in here or something. They would have had another thin, maybe a quarter strip or something like that of white in here, or it could even have been out here. I really don't know. And they make tires like that, but you know, I mean, they're going to be a little bit more spendier. I didn't actually see anything, you know, like that. I think Vogue tires or something like that make one like that. Obviously, you know, you just need to clean this blue off of here. But I was thinking that I still wanted the white walls, and I'm going to do a little bit of experimenting with these things here that I saw online, and I've seen a few videos where guys have shown them. These are, you know, it's a white wall deal that kind of goes into the tire, and you know, this is a 2-inch. I was afraid of doing like a 3-inch because that's what the white walls originally, like these white walls are a 3-inch ones. You know, like I said, which I kind of liked, but you know, it's a long ways, but this is a lot of work to clean and everything like that. With these things, I think these will be, it depends on what they're gonna do, like fading and all that kind of stuff. We'll have to, you know, that'll be remain to be seen. But it looks to me like about where that's gonna, you know, it's gonna cover up this particular white wall, or at least made into it or something. I'm not exactly sure. It looks like it would cover right to this point right here, and so that might work out okay. We're gonna go ahead and just try it. Just saying, we can't really hurt. I think these were about 68-ish or something like that that I bought. I don't know the brand. There's a company, you know, it's on Amazon. I'll see if I can put a link or something like that to it, but you know, we'll give this a try and see how that goes. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing up in the air and get all these tires off and get going on it. All right, so I don't know if I'm gonna have a little bit of a challenging, you know, time with this, getting these on here with this being a brand new tire, as far as getting the bead seat and everything. But essentially what you want to do when you go to put these on is you're going to deflate the tire, and you need to get at least this bead broken on the outside where this is going to go, and then essentially you're just going to wrap this around, and I need 2 hands to do it. All right, so this might not be too bad. Fits around this part, you know, really well and everything like that. So now what we got to do is inflate the tire and set the bead. All right, so I had to do stuff just a little bit differently, because I had to get, with this being a new tire and everything like that, I had to use that guy, but I had to, you know, I didn't want to damage this, and so I took it back off again. And so now what we're going to do is we've got the bead seated, and then I'm going to go ahead and you know, let the air back out, and then we'll get this bead separated right here, and we'll try it again, and it should be a little bit better to do this time around. All right, so we're back to this position again. Now we got the bottom bead, you know, is set. Hopefully I can kind of, you know, move this up a little bit as I need to. So we got this thing, obviously I got my grubby fingers on it already. I even just went ahead and cleaned that blue stuff off the white wall there, just in case that doesn't quite match up. We'll have to see. What did I use? Just use some brake parts cleaner. Not sure if that's good or not. It worked. It's really shiny white, which will, you know, clean all that, and I'll get some, you know, aluminum cleaner or something like that and clean these rims up too. But anyways, let's see how this goes. All right, so I went ahead and aired it up. It's got about 40 pounds in it now, and you can see it's crooked, but that don't matter. What you want to do is get the bead of the tire, you know, set and everything. So anyways, now what we're going to do is let the air completely out. All right, so now what you kind of want to do is see how it's kind of bubbled up right here, you know, let's just kind of come in here and shove this down with the palm, you know, like it's going to look pretty decent right in this area. See where that line is kind of down below. I'm pretty sure that's probably where you'd want this, but you see how it's up like this? That's not where you want it. So shove this down in here. All the way around. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and air the tire back up. Well, there's the finished product there. You know, I got this kind of wiped down and stuff like that. You can see I got, you know, like I said, this is what, 2-inch supposedly, or a little bit smaller than 2-inch, but it was advertised as 2-inch, but you can see I got about a 1/8 of an inch or so more because of the original white wall on the tire. But I don't know if I'm gonna like that or not. It seems to me like if you got the 3-inch, you would start getting up here to where maybe it's not gonna seat in there. But you know, overall we'll have to see. We'll get it put on the car and see what it looks like. Okay, so the other thing too, I've got balance beads in here. I did it on my pickup a long time ago, and they seem to work. Like I said, I'd even put them in this. Here's where, you know, those ones have been sitting in there. I got them in a deal like this, you know, where you got a scoop right there. Got your little chart. You find your tire size, tells you how many scoops to put in for each tire. So that should actually hopefully work. The other thing too is, and I found different information on this in both. This is the most recent. Somebody commented on another video I made that I had when I put those tires on my pickup with the balance beads, that I gave the wrong information, and I could have. I don't, you know, I don't want to, but if you have the red or the yellow and the red dot on here, what you really, you know, what this person told me is put the yellow dot and match it up with the valve stem, because in this wheel right here, if this wheel had some kind of a mark on it or something like that to show like where its balance is and all that, well then you'd put that mark to the red. But don't worry about the red right now. But then you're going to see other information where it says if you have a red and a yellow, the red takes precedence. That's what I told, you know, explained to that other video that I did. But you know, take it for what you will. I really don't know for sure, but that's what we did this time, because I know this rim doesn't have any sort of marking on it or anything like that as far as that goes. And so we're gonna, you know, if you only had a yellow dot, well then the yellow dot would go to the valve stem. I don't know what you'd be if you only had a red dot. You know, I mean, different tire manufacturers are gonna do different things, and some don't even have the dots at all. And I mean, anyways, yeah, so that's what we did. Thought I'd just explain that right quick best I can. So yellow and red dot for this particular rim. We're going to put the yellow dot to the valve stem and you know, go from there. So well, there's what they look like, and with it all clean and everything, is, you know, I don't mind it. You know, as you get closer here, I don't really like the fact that it didn't reach out all the way with that, you know, but I don't know. It remains to be seen how this will hold up if that's what I'm going to do. But I think what I'm also going to do, for me and for you all, is I'm just going to go ahead and since I have to seat the bead anyways on another tire, I'll just go ahead and put that tire, maybe we'll just do the other front, and you know, just clean up the white stripe on there and just see, you know, maybe I might like it better or something like that, you know. But this really doesn't look, I don't think looks too bad. You know, and I mean, this thing seems like it's in place and good enough in here, not going to come out. So I don't, you know, I mean, there had a lot of good reviews and stuff on here. It came from Amazon, so it, you know, and there's other guys that on some other videos and show like that, you know, how to install those probably better than I could tell you how to do it. But anyways, yeah, that's the finished look there. We'll see. You know, we'll just get another tire on and maybe see what the tires, you know, look like with just the regular strip on there. I don't know, just as a comparison or something like that. So we'll keep on going. I just got to thinking some people might be curious about how the bead blaster works. That tank I was talking about over there to blow this thing up. So I thought maybe I'll go ahead and show it. I got this air line, and then I go to the pedal, and that's what gets it started. But you can't, since the beads are so in narrow, it's going to be really hard to do. So this thing is pressurized up to 120 psi. Just going to hook this in here. I'm going to push the pedal, start the airflow, and then I'm going to open this valve. Hear the bead seat? So anyways, that's how that works. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just clean this off of here and this blue stuff or whatnot, and then go ahead and stick this on the car and see what it looks like, just out of curiosity. All right, so there is that wheel, and that looks pretty good too. I do like the wide whites, but I mean, that looks pretty nice. Ooh, guess it's not bad to have choices. I know I need to polish these rims up quite a bit more, and I mean, now would be a good time to do it with, you know, tire, like on my tire, or the rim on my tire machine and all that. I just don't have the time to do that at the moment. Plus I need to figure out exactly what would be the best stuff to use for those. If anybody knows, that'd be great. Let me know the stuff you like to use or anything like that. But yeah, this is that. Let's have a look-see at the other side. Kind of from the same angle, trying to, you know, I don't know, from back here, I like this. I might try that. I might put these rings on all of them, try them that way. Get a picture of it outside or something, you know. I mean, it definitely looks better. I mean, even the wide whites on here, they don't look very good when they're not clean. But that looks pretty good. Another shot of that. Well, each time I look at both sides, I'm like, oh, I can't make the decision. Let me know what you think. What would you do? Oh, I thought maybe I'd show this since I didn't show it before. So anyways, like that, I just put this underneath here like so, and just in here, and then I pushed it up all taking my fingers and going underneath, pushing it all the way to the edge of the rim. That. And then we get like I said, bottom bead's still seated, or was anyways. Now it's going to scoot off. There it goes. I don't know what this one got in pretty straight, but got in 40 psi, so I put in the tire anyway, so now we just let the air completely out. Okay, you can see this side right here got in kind of where it needs to be. It's pretty flat here, but this right here, see how it's raised up? So I found what works the best, is take the curved part of your palm and just push it all around, even this side here, and just go all the way around it. See how it's kind of flipping up like this? You're just pushing it down, kind of in that direction. And then just go all the way around it, and not too bad. Then just air the tire back up to what you run it at. Keep on going. Well, there's what it looks like. Well, now I gotta just go take it out and drive it and find out if, our vibration and all that kind of stuff that we had has gone away. Right before we do that, this car's been idling here just about as long as it took me to film, to get it around and everything like that. And I turned the AC on, and that's what it's pumping out. It's probably about 87-ish outside here. And so, yeah, check out my videos on the AC on these cars if you want to see it's even going down. I'll show it to you when we get out on the highway. But if you're curious about that, this AC system works phenomenal on 134A. Kind of a funky type of 134A. Stuff I don't really understand, but you'll have to check out that video. I'll put a link down in the description for it. But anyways, let's go take this for a ride. This is my favorite part, just driving it, looking down that long hood at the hood ornament. It's perfect. So, well, right now we're cruising about 70. I don't know if that's coming in on the camera there. This car has never been this smooth since I've owned it. And another thing, look at what this AC is pumping out to. Trying to hold my hand as steady as I can. Long reach, 30 degrees. Yeah, usually on like 100-degree day or something like that, we'll be putting out 40, going about this fast. I'm gonna slow her down here to 55. Well, actually, I'm gonna probably just go ahead and make a turn here. And, what was I gonna? Oh, it's no longer pulling to the right anymore. This thing actually always just kind of pulled to the right. I actually had my steering wheel cockeyed one tooth, so that I mean, it here where I live, sometimes a vehicle will pull to the right because of the crown of the roads, you know, places that get some winter area. It just depends on how they build the road. But now you can see where the steering wheel, you know, like I need to go one tooth over, you know, that's perfectly straight. But yeah, that's kind of so apparently we had more issues than just you know, the vibration and all that stuff. Like I said, this has never been this smooth, so I don't know, like I said, how, you know, maybe prior to, you know, I don't know how long those tires, maybe he could have said they were new, but maybe he had the tires on for a long time, and the car just sat with a heavy car. You know, if they sit around, maybe that's, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's never been this smooth. But it could also be the design of the tire, I mean, or how they make the tire, or, you know, maybe they're concentrating on more just, you know, maybe it's a really cheap made tire just because, you know, they can get away with it. It's like, oh, well, we make white walls. Well, they're, you know, if they really want white walls, they can buy it. They gotta buy it, you know. I don't know. I don't know that for sure. I don't want to bad talk anything, you know, that I don't know 100%. I'm just telling you my experience. Those tires have been on this car for 3 years since I've had it, about 15,000 miles, you know, because I don't remember exactly what I had on this car, but we're about ready to turn back to brand new here in about 300 miles. So just in time for this thing to start riding perfectly smooth again with that, you know. But like I said, yeah, I don't know if those tires, maybe they're just really cheap made tires, those Coker Classics, you know, and which would be totally fine, maybe on a classic car that you don't, you know, that doesn't get driven that much. And I don't know, I might think about even just, you know, them tires got really good tread. They're, you know, they're 4 years old. I think I'll have to look at the date on them and see what they are. You can clean those white walls up. Maybe I'll try to ask $300 or something for all 4 of them, or $200 for all 4 of them. And, you know, maybe somebody that doesn't care as much, or maybe they want to put them on an old pickup or something that don't really matter, you know, how it rides, or I don't know. Somebody might be interested in them. I'm just going to be honest and tell them what you know, what was going on, you know, but I don't see any signs that they've separated or anything like that. But, you know, like I said, I don't know. Cross that bridge when I get to it. But it is kind of a bummer because I was nowhere near thinking I needed new tires. But obviously I did, and this car is driving, I mean, it's driving pretty awesome. You know, right now I'm not having to do any corrections. Yeah, a little bit of a correction, but that's kind of how you drive these cars anyways. You know, you just point them in the right direction, just like you would an actual boat, and just make your little course adjustment corrections to the wheel, you know, the input, like following a compass, you know, which by the way, we are very well equipped with. Just something I found on Amazon, which I thought was kind of cool. And it's tin, it's metal, it's, you know, it actually works though. It says we're going east, which is the direction we're going. So, anyways, yeah, I might go. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. We're out here where there's no houses and stuff like that. I might kick this thing right back up again, but I don't want to go too fast if there's people that irrigate these farm fields and all that kind of stuff. If they're around, I don't like to be just speeding. You know, it's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit on this road, but this guy's never home during the day. But I might just kick it up here in a second to find out if they're not home. And nobody looking down the way. I hate speeding, so I don't like to be speeding in front, you know, where people are alongside the road trying to do something. But yeah, this thing is running great. There we got up to 70 and no vibrations, no noises, no shaking. Where I noticed it the most is right now is I don't have any screws in the top of this dash, because last time I had the dash off, I forgot to put them in. But then I always just left them off. It's because this dash has got to come off again, because I need to fix the bulbs in the lights again. I have a video out about how to remove this dash cluster. Boy, that's not coming in at all. It doesn't matter, but on this car, so you can check that out. You know how to take this all apart to get this dash cluster out of here, so you can get to the bulbs and everything like that. So, you know, part of what I'm doing now is I'm kind of really done with this video and everything like that. Let me know what you all thought about the white wall rings, and would you have done that or stuck with the regular strip, or, you know, I mean, should have actually looked up and seen if I could find the actual period correct Vogues. I think makes the ones that are exactly what these would have came with, but I assume they're probably pretty spendy, more than I could afford right now. You know, here's what our AC is putting out, about 30 degrees. It's cold, folks, and it's running off a 134A. Yeah, I got a few different videos out about that, and you know, like my temperature gauge works, so pulling up to the stop and go sign, but you know, you can see that that's reading about 85. I'd say it was probably a little bit 88ish, 89 at the hottest part of the day. And so now it's cooling off right now because it's like 6:30, so starting to kind of, you know, but it's plenty. But yeah, that gauge is, you know, it's usually fairly accurate within a couple of degrees, you know, not more than 5. I'll tell you what, it's, you know, it's not bad. But like, this is getting, you know, it's cold enough now. Now we have another, it won't be quite as cold like if you turn, because right now I got it all the way cold as possible, but I don't have it on the high setting because it actually blows a lot of air and you wouldn't be able to hear much what I'm saying. That's why I love this car for in summer, because of, you know, how well even the air conditioning worked before. I've always just had it running on 134A, but you know, we got a couple different videos out and what I did to fix the POA valve, and then what I did for I swear to God, people do not know how to do a stop sign. What you got to be careful with. Anyways, yeah, put a new compressor on it. It's a more modern compressor than that GM Frigidaire one that they, you know, used in these cars, which I'm not saying is a bad compressor. It's just the one that I got seems to work just really well than the type of Freon that I use. That stuff's baffling to me, to say the least. So anyhow, going back to these cokers, here is the date code. So it would have been, I'm pretty sure, I don't know exactly what like this number would be, but it's going to be like, you know, like February, but I mean, pretty sure this is going to be 2019. As it, you know, for the date. I knew these tires weren't that old, you know, but the interesting thing is, and I get it all the time with, sometimes, you know, when I, you know, fix and repair tires and stuff like that, and people will say, oh yeah, you know, the tires are new, you know. I mean, so when I bought this car in 2020 September, you know, when he said these tires were new, well, you know, they could have been on this car for a whole year, I don't remember exactly what he said, but you know, they're not really that old a tire. So you know, anything that's but some people will be like, oh yeah, you know, I mean, I haven't put only 500 miles on the car. I bought the tires 7 years ago. Well, they're still 7-year-old tires. They're you get to about 10 years old, you shouldn't even be really running them on the highway that much. Not a regular daily driver and everything like that. So anyhow, these are I'm happy with these so far. You know, with this size of tire in this car and everything like that, you know, I run these about 40 psi in all of the tires. Seems like that does pretty good. It might even bump up the pressure a little bit. I don't know yet, but you know, I can't think of it. Just let me know what you think about the white wall rings, and see if, you know, what you would have done, or if you liked it better the other way or something like that. It'll remain to be seen exactly, you know, how well those hold up. You know, but we just have to go from there. So anyways, I hope this helped you out some, and thanks for watching.